Hey, I was too eager there. So how is Juwan Mitchell doing working his way back from injury, and has he done enough work where you think he could make a significant impact this upcoming season?
The first 3 days have been, really good. Juwan's been, model, of consistency. These first 3 days, and it's really the first time, probably in almost a year and a half to 2 years, that he's felt healthy. He's gotten all the surgeries behind him, and he's probably as healthy as he's been in a long time. So you're starting to see the best parts of him. But he's been, really good these first 3 days.
Brian, just what would having him healthy and locked in, what would that mean for your group and for this defense?
Like every team in the country, everybody's trying to build depth. If he's able to come in and be able to contribute at a high level, we'll feel like that just add to our numbers. With the way we play and score, we have to have several linebackers are ready to play. So, the depth, especially with the, wear and tear that you get in this conference, the more quality linebackers you have, the better, you have a chance to be better on defense.
With that said, how much more competition do you have compared to where you were at any point last year? And what do you feel like that competition level is right now?
I think it's high. I do. Obviously, Jeremy, with the snaps that he played and the level he played at at times last year, we have to still push him. But he's one of the guys we know that we can count on. But we're getting to the point. Aaron Beasley's had a great camp too these first 3 days. When the pads came on today, he showed up a couple times too, which is great. You can see him growing. And then obviously we spoke about Juwan. Solon Page has had a really good camp. He's shown he can give us quality minutes, and we're really excited about some of our young depth. And Pat Garland has been really good these last 3 days. Elijah Herring, William Mohan, Nick Humphreys, and then obviously the young guy, Caleb Perry is doing some really good things also.
The pass defense overall struggled at times last year.
Yes.
What part do you think the linebackers have in fixing that, and what issues did you see in terms of coverage last year with your linebackers?
We're tied to coverage. There's 95% of the coverages we have, the linebackers are involved in it. So we would never point the finger at the secondary or the D-line as far as pass rush. We have to do a better job, and I think our number one thing in pass coverage is getting to spots, being able to periff the quarterback and find receivers in our zone and be able to make plays. I think when you watch the film, we were in position to make a couple plays on the ball, and we didn't. And I tie that into the pass rush. We're a very aggressive defense, and we blitz, considerably. So as a linebacker, your pass coverage as a blitzer is to get that quarterback on the ground and get him off his spot to make him uncomfortable. All those things tie together. So we take as much responsibility as that in that as anything. But I feel like we've gotten better. And with our second year in the system, we haven't added that much. We've tweaked a couple things, so the guys are a lot more comfortable with what we're doing.
What's the next step for Jeremy Banks? Obviously took a turn for the better and he started to play pretty well last year, but I've heard you guys mention a couple of times that he can get even better. What does he need to do to reach the ceiling?
I'll say this, until he gets a gold jacket, everybody can get better. And I think with his is maturity, which I think he's grown leaps and bounds since I've gotten here, and playing under control. He's done that. In these first 3 practices, which has been impressive. And, Jeremy's not going to always be the most vocal leader, but he does lead by example. He kind of does, kind of predict the temperature of the team. And I think when he comes out and has the right type of energy and juice, the whole team feeds off that. Obviously, the defense more than the offense. But if he keeps, going in that direction, expect for him to have a big year in every aspect as a stack linebacker, a blitzer, and a coverage linebacker, because he has that kind of ability.
Coach, you mentioned earlier the number of snaps that Jeremy played. Obviously, Aaron played a lot last year. Are you comfortable with that number, or do you want to rotate? And do you think you're going to have the ability to rotate at that position that you didn't have a year ago?
We would always like to rotate because it comes down to freshness. In this league, we playing a quality team. Most games are going to come down to the fourth quarter, and the guys that are going to be the freshest, if it's an equal matchup, that's probably the team that's going to win or give themselves the best opportunity to win. I thought we got worn down a little bit toward the end of games, and we're going to try to obviously keep guys as fresh as possible, but we're not going to rotate just to rotate. We're going to rotate quality guys that's going to give us a chance to play good defense and win games.
Rob and Wes.
Coach, just I know Herring was here in the spring, but just how far along is he? How close is he to really being able to help you? Do you think?
I think now the lights are on for real. We're preparing for a game. I think he was a little nervous at first with the magnitude of we're getting into camp and we're a month away from playing. But Elijah's as mature of a freshman as you can find. Sometimes I forget. He looks like he's 25 years old when you look at him in his face, and you forget. This was a kid that left high school early and was able to come through spring. But I think his comfort level with what we're doing on defense and just understand the tempo of how we play on offense and how it's going to be on Saturdays has helped him. I look for him to be a contributor this year. Obviously, he's still being a freshman. He still has a lot to prove, but we've been very excited about him as a whole staff.
Brian, I'm sure there's things as a coach that always kind of are in the back of your head, kind of concerns, and you're always thinking about what's next. But when you look in your room and you see, 4 or 5 seniors, guys who have played different amounts of football, but still that many old guys in the room, does that give you some comfort as a coach, knowing, all right, I got some young men here, maybe not kids?
It does. I think that's a 2-part question. Obviously, when you're in the moment, it gives you comfort, but come January, you might not feel as good. You know what I mean? You always want to have a certain balance with young and old. Obviously, we're going to lean on some of the veteran guys that have kind of been in the fire a little bit, because they're going to make really good decisions in intense situations in games. But our goal is always, with Coach Height, since we've got here, is the development piece. We have to make sure our young guys are going to develop and be ready to go, even if it might happen this year. Knock on wood, you never want to, count for injuries, but we all know they're a part of the game. And for us to play the way we want to play with the physicality that we need to play, we know that guys are going to be, nicked up. So they're going to have to be young guys ready to play this year also. You hope their number is not called if they're not ready, but we have to get them ready to play, because you never know how the season's going to play out.
Coach, you touched on Elijah. We talked to Caleb the other day, and he recalled back in the summer an early meeting where he kind of got hit in the face with all the installs that you guys put on him. Just how's he handled that? How's he handled everything? And maybe what do you kind of see his future being here?
You mean Elijah, right?
No, Caleb.
Caleb, when we took him, he was a more athlete than linebacker, which is what we wanted. Caleb, athletically, he's probably in the top 10% of the team already. He's got, that type of athletic ability. We just got to get him fundamentally to the point where he can play stack linebacker and work within a college defense. But we've been thrilled with him. He flashes just in these 3 days. He does some jaw dropping stuff. We just got to get him to be consistent where he can go and work within the framework of our defense. But super, smart kid, asks the right questions, and I think his best football is ahead of him for sure.
A guy like William Mohan, who missed some time last year, yes. How has he come along? I know he missed spring as well.
Yep.
What's the expectation for him this fall?
I kind of put him in the same category. I think he was hurt for most of the year last year, and I'm not going to speak for Coach Eck. We thought he was dynamite on special teams. Did some great things for us. So now he's healthy. Also, we're expecting some of those same results on defense. Obviously, a smaller kid but super explosive. Has all the athletic traits that you want. It's just same thing. He didn't really get a chance to sit and learn the defense per se last year. He was more of a core special teams guy. He's really focusing on learning what we do, but we're expecting big things from him also.
Brian up front. Is camaraderie and growth as a coaching staff a thing from your experience? Because you guys have virtually everybody back on your coaching staff and everybody on defense. Can you talk about that aspect?
That's a good question. That's a Bill Belichick question where he would say, on to the next opponent.
You're giving me more than he would.
But yes, I would say that almost like what we talked about with the senior group, especially guys that have been together for a long time. I don't think there's any substitute for time, quality time as a unit, no matter what you're doing. It's funny that you say that because when you look at the meetings, we went over our pre-practice schedule and we went over it like we were the first-time staff, which is what you should do. But we're all looking at each other and we can almost complete each other's sentences, and that's what you want. We kind of are comfortable with each other, and that does add to growth because you can expand on things, whether it be offensively, defensively, or just the team aspect of it. What's good, what's bad, we can trust each other and know we're going to make the right decisions. And I know that's going to obviously play out, very well for us, once the season starts.
Last one to Wes.
Brian, no matter who we've talked to, whether it's Josh or any of the players or any of the other assistants, everybody always talks about sort of the positive energy in this building. How do you go about, making sure that does happen, that it stays positive, but everybody's still working, everybody's still pushing, but, the guys seem to like being around each other here, and that's not something you always see.
I think it always starts with the head coach. It's the culture he's always talked about. Before he ever talks about wins and losses, he always talks about mindset on how you're going to go attack the day. He's always the first one, the players see when they enter the building, getting ready to go into meetings. I think that means a lot, and he's always got a smile on his face no matter what happened the last day. And when you talk about culture and positive energy, you really find out how, true that is after a player had a bad day, a unit had a bad day, a position group or a unit, or just in general, the team didn't do as well as we want. How do you approach the next day? How do you approach the next, team event that you would be doing? And I think Coach Hype does a great job of forget the last play, let's go win the next play. And the kids, they bought into it. They really believe it. Even us as coaches that are, old school guys that like to keep, knocking on that door, like, we got to get this right, we got to get this right. The kids can still do it with a smile on their face because they really do believe that the best is yet to come.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.